we're walking distance to RMIT, walking distance to University of Melbourne. We are literally on the doorstep of Victoria University. We invite those kind of like-minded operators to bring their brand and bring their products into our building. Those that choose to live in Melbourne, we're right in the center of the CBD, with all of that great dining, cultural elements on your doorstep, with obviously universities also right by your house. So.
Hai teman-teman, kembali lagi bersama aku Valerie dan kali ini kita masih ditemenin sama Corey Lee selaku the Director of Commercial dari The Switch Accommodation in Australia. Kalau di perbincangan sebelumnya nih kita baru ngomongin introduction to The Switch, kali ini kita akan lebih dalam lagi bahas mengenai akomodasi mereka di dua lokasi favorit yaitu adalah Sydney dan Melbourne. So let's talk about your properties in Sydney and Melbourne, which are arguably two of the most popular study destinations for Indonesian students in Australia. What can students expect from your locations there?
Sure, I'll start with Sydney, our newest building. So what's quite unique about the Switch Kensington is that it's very well located for really all the universities, but it's walking distance to UNSW. So like for a number of years, the accommodation proximity to UNSW really hasn't been great, and we've seen a growth in that area, and we were fortunate enough to build a building there as well. So I think the most unique element of the Switch Kensington is the location, and the location is amazing. So the location obviously is about 10 to 15 minute walk to the UNSW campus.
Wow.
But it also has great connections via the tram lines. So we have two major tram lines that go by that Randwick area, Randwick Kensington. And one goes obviously out towards Paddington, towards university. So if you didn't want to walk or it was raining, it's one stop on the light rail from the Switch Kensington to UNSW main gate. But also the other line that we're very equidistant to, so basically the same distance walking to the station, can take you to the CBD in less than 20 minutes. There's express buses that take you to the CBD in like 13 minutes. And then if you would go the other way, you get like the best of Sydney. You get literally dropped off in Coogee, which is basically very close to Bondi, one of the kind of premier beaches in Sydney. That works really well from a location perspective. Outside of that, in the Switch Kensington, it's quite unique in the sense that it's not a high rise. So for the most part, when you think of student accommodation, you think of, a really tall tower, 30, 40 floors.
Yeah.
The uniqueness of the Switch Kensington is it's our most boutique property in that it's only 250 rooms, a makeup of like studios, some kind of cozy two bed, which is a kind of a smaller product with two small rooms in it, or two semi-private rooms within that apartment with a shared bathroom. And then we have our 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom apartment also in that building, which is an amazing apartment. You get your loads of private space, but that shared element as well. But the beauty of that building is that it is built around a centralized courtyard and centralized kind of co-living space. When I say co-living, I mean co-living for the student residents. And it is low rise, so it's a beautiful building which has got a U shape basically in design, and it's all built around the heart of the building, which is the centrally located common areas. So it has a really boutique feel to it. Once again, a residential feel to it. So I think that anybody who is looking at studying at UNSW, it is an amazing place to be in terms of getting the best of living in Sydney, but also being super close to the UNSW, and that kind of open living style that's not a high rise, but literally you're so close to the CBD and the outskirts and all the best beaches in Sydney that you're in a great spot. So that's kind of the Sydney asset, Sydney Kensington. Obviously you've got, and you just have to check out our website. You'll understand how beautiful the building is. And in terms of Melbourne, so in Melbourne, our building is called the Switch Vic Market. As the name suggests, we're super close to the Victoria Market. So and location again, we've been quite fortunate in our location. We're walking distance to RMIT, walking distance to University of Melbourne. We are literally on the doorstep of Victoria University, and then we have, once again, similar to Sydney, really good transport connections to Monash. So the Monash campuses you can get to either via Flagstaff Station or Melbourne Central, and direct transport links to the Monash campuses, which is a huge advantage for the Switch Melbourne. We obviously, Victoria Market speaks for itself, but there's so many great retailers there, kind of from fruit and veg to artisanal kind of art supplies. It really is a beautiful market. Once again, if you get a chance to go to Melbourne, go check out the food and beverage there. There's some great donuts. There's great everything at Victoria Market. So our residents are super sport living there. Also, literally, they've got Woolworths on the corner, which is a major grocery chain in Australia. So everything that the students could possibly need is on their doorstep. In Melbourne, it is a high-rise building. We have 3 floors of communal space. What's really exciting about the Melbourne building is that on the ground floor we have, I think we've got 5 meeting rooms that are bookable. The other thing that we could touch on really about the Switch that I didn't touch on previously is we're very technologically driven. So there's loads of technology through our building in our design, from mobile phone activation locks. So basically all the locks in the buildings activated by mobile phone, but all of our booking spaces, all of our booked study spaces, the theatre rooms, the cinemas, all of those spaces are bookable via that app as well, via the Switch app, which is obviously inbuilt in everything we do. So in Melbourne, we have on the ground floor, we have 5 meeting spaces that are bookable. We also have a purpose-built event space. One of the elements that I touched on previously about what makes the Switch unique is the community around us, the broader community within Melbourne. So we invite those kind of like-minded operators to bring their brand and bring their products into our building, and we have pop-ups that will bring into our buildings to really expose our residents to what's out there. What's on your doorstep. What are the great things in Melbourne, Perth, Adelaide, and Sydney that are literally right there. So we'll do in Melbourne, we have a purpose-built event space that we do everything from Pilates classes, yoga classes, to, we have fashion pop-ups. So we have locally sourced or locally designed fashion designers that will come in and sell their products directly to our customers. In Melbourne, we've had an IKEA pop-up before in that space, so that when students arrive, they can get their bedding literally from our ground floor. We have everything in that space. That's a beautiful space that's really versatile for us. You name it, we've done it. We've done like F1 simulators for the Formula One. We've done everything in that space. So it's really cool in Melbourne. We've got that area. On the basement in Melbourne, we also have basically our laundry area. As I mentioned, our laundry is free across all of our buildings in the Switch. We have our kind of state-of-the-art gym. Another element that we've decided to do across all of our buildings in Australia really is partner with Technogym, which enables those residents that are super passionate about fitness and well-being to be able to track their own progress via the Technogym app, but also those residents that aren't quite they're just starting their kind of fitness journey and they're not very comfortable in that environment. By partnering with Technogym, our residents are able to kind of use that app with their friends in a booked space or in their own apartment, and do a yoga class, do a breathwork class, do meditation, all through the power of that Technogym. So once again, that kind of community felt, well-being element everything goes for everything we do at the Switch, but also that ability to be able to choose your own adventure while you're with us. So that's on the ground. That's on the basement floor. Sorry. When we go into level 11, a full floor again of community space. So breakout study areas. We have like open fireplace kind of nook. We have a wraparound balcony. We've got, where you'd find a massive communal kitchen. So although that all of our apartments have internal cooking facilities, in every building, we go out of our way to design and build an amazing communal kitchen. once again, so we can host those cooking classes that I touched on, but also so we can bring our community together. We also have our kind of multimedia room on that floor, as well as phone booths for privacy of study. So level 11 is this really kind of multifaceted, entertaining kind of area where also is a great use for kind of study space when it comes to peak study time. I'm sure you could imagine, depending on the time of year, every desk, every surface, everything we have is study. So we try and build in these spaces on our floors, like the image behind me, where, you know, you can entertain and you can hang out with your friends, and you can have that social element, but there's that kind of multi-use breakout space when it's time to study as well, which is what we try and incorporate to our buildings. And then in Melbourne, we also have our rooftop as well, which is another area of common space where you get to get outside in the fresh air and take in the views of Melbourne, which is super, super exciting. In Melbourne, as you'd expect, we have a number of different room types. So in Melbourne, we have our cozy 2-bedroom apartment, which is, you know, a shared apartment between two people, fully private bedroom, shared bathrooms, edge kitchen and dining space. We have 4-bedroom, 2-bath apartments. So kind of a mix where you get your private bedroom, but a shared bathroom and another kitchen lounge area to share with your roommates. We have a 4-bedroom ensuite, which the name suggests is, you know, 4 bedrooms, but each resident has a private bathroom. In that room type, you obviously still have the kitchen and lounging area to hang out with your roommates. And then we have a variety of studio product. So I think, you know, what you'd expect in Melbourne is those that choose to live in Melbourne, we're right in the center of the CBD, with all of that great dining, kind of cultural elements on your doorstep, with obviously universities also right by your house. So yeah, we're pretty happy with the Melbourne location.
Okay, I think we've managed to cover most of the facilities and services international students would love. So that's great. That's a lot of like services and a lot of like entertainment. And as you said, it's very communal. It felt like it's so much more than just a place to stay when you're studying abroad. So I do want to touch on the subject of being an international student means that you have to transition into living somewhere else, right? So how does the switch help students transition into city life in these 2 major urban areas, which are Sydney and Melbourne?
Yeah, great question. So, I mean, at the Switch, like we obviously try and embrace and we really, as I kind of touched on previously, we focus on our residents and we focus on the community, and we really we don't rely, but we encourage our residents to be involved and to create that community. So when a new student arrives, or when we get a new cohort of students, we obviously have our residential assistants, which are part of our broader team, that are students as well. And when we are recruiting those students, we are looking for all those pastoral elements. So anyone who's a full-time student that becomes part of our broader kind of, operations team and our student kind of welfare team is about trying to identify those pastoral elements, those welcoming elements that some people have, and that kind of generosity of time and generosity in nature. And when we're doing that, we're looking for a variety of students from a multitude of backgrounds. So when we are doing our welcoming event, so every single time we do an intake, we'll have a welcome event every kind of, after semester 1 intake, after semester 2 intake, in every single building that we operate. That is about bringing new and old residents, or new and experienced residents together. And then we really encourage them to get involved and try and help those new residents arriving. When students arrive, obviously we do an onboarding process where we welcome them, we take them through everything that they've got within their apartment, and kind of that, the structured approach to your new apartment and what's available in the building. But also we give the opportunity for our key members of staff to introduce themselves, and try and make them feel as welcome as possible. Another element that we try and do, and that we're in the process of finalizing now, is that we are endeavoring to work closely with our with our in technological systems within our building and the IT systems, and we are trying to create community even before students leave and come to Australia. So we're working on trying to build a framework where we can have students that are coming from overseas to already engage with people that are in a similar situation. I mean, I think that there's an element of security and comfortability when you understand that there's someone else in the same kind of situation you are, with the same fears, the same apprehensions, the same excitement, that you can kind of bounce those kind of experiences off. So there's a kind of it's an overwhelming kind of it's an overarching element of, once again, creating environments for our residents to be engaged in. We understand it really is a self kind of discovery journey, but we give every opportunity for those residents to acclimate, and we do everything we can to facilitate whatever they may need. Over on top of that, obviously, like I said, when we arrive, we make sure that everybody feels comfortable in their apartment, but also we have the opportunity for the residents that may have been with us and were here on the first time once before to kind of help those new arrivals.
Right. Thank you so much, Corey, for telling us a little bit about the facility, services, and all-around community at The Switch in Kensington and Vic Market. Teman-teman, masih ada loh nanti pembahasan mengenai The Switch di Perth dan Adelaide, jadi jangan kemana-mana, tonton video selanjutnya ya.
Gimana? Udah siap kuliah di luar negeri? Jangan lupa subscribe dan nonton video lainnya ya. Buruan!